Hello again, my Vagabond viewers. I'm back at Hamsterley Forest today with my Vagabond companions, Master Week and Secret Dave, to seek random bandersnatchers and the equally elusive Gruffalo, if we're very lucky. Meanwhile, I thought I'd take this topical opportunity to ask David if he has seen and believes all the recent news reports about the Chinese spy balloon over America, the newly discovered green comet, and the Turkish earthquake are all biblical signs and wonders prophesied in Revelation of the tribulation and potential second coming of Christ, are nothing more or less than simple coincidence. Over to you, Dave, with that question.
I don't think the Chinese balloons have anything to do with the second coming or anything like that, have they?
Signs and wonders. So yes, it could be interpreted that way. That's why I kind of mentioned it. What about the green comet? What about the green comet? Could that be wormwood, perhaps?
The green comet?
That has been spotted in the skies by astronomers, right, Bob, recently?
There is indeed a green comet with a green tail.
And I believe wormwood was reputed to be green. So it could have something to do with... Look at you. I love the way you're looking thoughtful here.
Yeah.
Scratching the beard.
But the Turkish earthquake, that's sort of biblical, isn't it?
Yeah, but there are earthquakes do happen more or less all the time. So,
yeah,
like I said, could that be coincidental?
It's quite a severe one, like, wasn't it? Yeah.
So from a Christian perspective, what do you think? I mean, are we heading towards the tribulation?
What the Bible calls the end times,
Yeah.
The,
Are there any other particular signs and wonders that are prophesied by the Bible, in Revelations or in Matthew, perhaps?
just the general sort of turning away from God, I think.
Right. And do you feel that's the way the world is going?
Yeah.
We're becoming very secular.
Yeah, sort of getting very anti-God, I think.
Right. And do you feel Christians are being sort of victimised to an extent?
No, not really.
Right.
Well, they are in some companies, some countries.
Okay.
But that's always been the case.
Right. Good point. Good point there.
Especially Islamic countries.
Right.
You know.
Though more so than recent times than, say, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
There was more tolerance.
Yeah.
That's a bad sign, isn't it, really?
Yeah, a lot of Christians
we should have tolerance.
because of the faith in various countries. Yeah.
Right. And you feel a lot of Christians are sort of breaking away from the faith because of this pressure to an extent,
Could be, yeah. Because the church attendances are really dropping all over the country, you know.
Does that concern you then, the fact
churches are closing?
Church attendances are dropping?
Yeah, and
was this prophesied that people? Well, you said people would fall away.
Yeah, there'd be
from the faith.
falling away from God. Yeah, in the last times, like.
Right. So you genuinely believe we are in the tribulation and the signs are there?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
And do you believe it will last 7 years as prophesied, or do you think that's kind of like a sort of random figure?
It could be, yeah. Could be like a random figure, maybe.
Right. So at least it's not 94 years. That'd be terrible.
It's like the creation, created in 6 days, but it's 6,000 years or...
Yeah. An arbitrary figure.
Yeah.
As it were. and I mean, do you believe that the creation thing is a myth, or do you think it's sort of based on sort of historical evidence?
Oh, it's based on historical evidence. Like.
So Noah's Ark was real.
Yeah.
Adam and Eve was potentially real.
Yeah.
You don't think it's allegory?
No.
Any other things to add to that?
No, not really.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith. And now to Mr. Week. What's your opinion on this whole controversy?
Everybody wants signs and portents. People love signs and portents.
Mm-hmm, they do. Does it reassure them, do you think?
It reassures some people because I think it confirms their beliefs, or possibly the opposite.
Interesting.
Spy balloons are spy balloons.
Right.
Earthquakes happen all the time.
There's been
It was a particularly unpleasant earthquake, which was quite startling.
It was.
It's just...
Yeah, like you say, it's happening all the time.
Yeah, it's another earthquake.
Killed a lot of people, though, didn't it, as well?
Green comets are unusual.
They're very unusual.
This one has something out a 45 million year period.
No, 50,000 years it was last seen, apparently, when Neanderthals existed. So,
I think even before the Neanderthals, 50,000.
Oh yeah, it's been common since before then, but Neanderthals, that's my point, Neanderthals existed when it was last spotted, apparently.
50,000 years ago?
Yeah, that was when it was, that's what they calculated. based on its trajectory.
I think that's what this period is. I think
Yeah.
the Neanderthals about 50,000 years ago, did we?
Yeah. I mean, they died out 35,000 years ago,
Okay,
so
well, you have that.
they had 15,000 years to enjoy the experience before they went extinct. Before nature selected them for extinction.
Again, it is just a comet. And
Right.
these things turn up.
Right.
I
Its
think
green colour is pure
Green
coincidence.
colour is because it's green.
Right. It's a dramatic colour, though, isn't it? Really?
And green, as we all know, symbolises green.
To an extent. And renewal.
Entirely. It's
And renewal.
mainly green.
Greed.
Green.
No, what did you say it symbolises?
Green. Green symbolises
Oh, right.
green.
So it just.
Greed,
You don't think it symbolises anything in
No,
particular then?
it symbolises green.
Yeah.
Right, because
what it
you know,
symbolises.
according to Chinese mythology, it does symbolise rebirth and renewal, green,
Yeah, it probably does. It just symbolises green.
and the green man, of course. I think you don't attach anything to sort of mythology, do you, and folklore in general,
Not in.
You're quite sort of sceptical
not
about
for
it.
meaning out of life. No,
right?
these things aren't entertaining in themselves, but to seek.
Yeah, it makes sense from a vagabond perspective.
Yes, but yeah, to seek a deeper perspective and rules
Yeah.
of living, is a little bit excessive.
Where do you stand on folklore, Dave?
Folklore.
Yeah, and sort of mythology in general.
Um,
Do you think all myths are sort of like all myth and legend is the basis of history? Like that's a popular theory among historians, isn't it?
yeah.
Well, myths and legends are the stories we tell about ourselves, aren't they? And they are ways of finding meaning,
Right.
and they're interesting, certainly from an anthropological. Get me teeth in.
From an anthropological perspective.
Perspective.
Right.
They're certainly interesting, and they can be
Right.
entertaining.
Right.
They may even, in some cases, have that elusive quality known as truth in them somewhere.
Yeah. So what do you think the Adam and Eve sort of story is based on then? I mean, obviously it's an allegory.
This is
What do you-
entirely allegorical.
What do you think inspired it?
No idea. I haven't researched the depths of depths of Hebrew mythology.
Right. Interesting.
Sort of God's dealing with people, isn't it?
I think it's a way of explaining why things come about.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Bible is essentially a combination of Jewish history and mythology and allegory.
Yes.
It's all part of the the grand scheme of things, as it were.
Yeah. It's a compendium of
Yeah.
myths, legends, dubious history,
But like
larger than life characters.
religion, I mean, like two of the world's main religions are based on it, though. So
Three.
like, yeah. Well, we've got Judaism, which was the founder religion. Then we've got Christianity. Then we've got Islam.
So three religions
Yeah.
basically are divided.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of how many people in the world worship all three faiths combined? Would you say? About half the world's population, maybe.
Oh, I suspect so. I don't
3
know
or 4
the figures.
bill.
Yeah.
I think Christianity is supposed to be like the world's largest faith at the moment because it's got over like 2 billion people or something.
Would have thought Islam would be great.
Islam's less. I think there's just under 1 billion who practice Islam. Like according to the last figures that I checked, which was only a few months ago. And Buddhism, that's catching up actually. There's about 600 million Buddhists in the world. I mean, does that surprise you?
No, I haven't researched Buddhism.
Right. And like I said, there's all these other faiths as well, including my paganism. There's paganism's on the rise, but it's not on the same sort of level as the established religions.
How many is that then?
Partly because I think paganism has no kind of formal principle to it.
And they've got a pantheon of gods and goddesses as well. So there's like not just one sort of overarching god,
See, a lot of
like
people,
there are with established religions.
a lot of people like religion because it gives them structure.
It does, yes,
Paganism
and hope as well.
I don't think paganism offers a lot of structure.
It can do. It can be quite formal.
My suspicion is you create the structure for yourself.
Yeah.
Out of
Some
tools you have.
some paganism's very formal and structured, like Asura, the Norse sort of worship. And to a lesser extent, my Celtic goddess is sort of semi-structured because it's based around the seasons. That's when you sort of worship and you sort of make offerings to your
Yes.
gods and goddesses at particular times of the year. Like
Well, the Greek and Roman gods, do they come into it?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pagans do worship the old, Greek and Roman gods like Zeus, Jupiter,
Who of course
Athena.
also coordinate with the old Celtic gods as well.
That's right.
They're all the same people with different hats on, basically.
To an extent, yeah.
I mean, Thor has I don't know how many hats and different hammers, depending on which.
Probably several.
Yeah.
Especially
that's right.
the MCU version.
Odin and that.
And
Yeah, Odin's got Thor's father, by the way.
Jehovah's
Loki's his half brother.
Jehovah's just another sun god.
Who?
Jehovah's just another sun god.
You think?
Yeah.
Right.
What about Yahweh?
He's the same one. Yahweh and
Yahweh,
Jehovah,
yeah.
they're the same God,
Yes,
different
another
names
who got lucky.
for the same God. And do you think that there was a reason why it was a patriarchal God at the time, then, as opposed to a matriarchal goddess with the Jews?
That'll be for reasons of Jewish society and the way Jewish society is structured.
So it's patriarchal society.
A patriarchal society will develop a patriarchal god.
Right. And that's why it became the shepherd god.
Yeah.
Because I presumably a lot of it was based around agriculture and herding, their original Jewish
society,
culture.
That's right. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a technological god.
Yeah. Apparently
A god of fire and steel.
a lot of Judaism was also apparently based on sort of Egyptian gods. Like so there's theories that they sort of borrowed from Amun-Ra.
Well, of course, they spent a lot of time in Egypt.
They did.
And they would have absorbed a lot of Egyptian ideas and philosophies.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Did the first come to Egypt, Dave, with what was
Joseph, wasn't it?
Yeah, Joseph and the alleged Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah,
And he became advisor to the pharaoh, didn't he?
Jacob, his father, didn't they? They all
Right.
went down to Egypt, didn't they?
And then they were apparently in bondage for 200 years or something.
Until Moses led them out.
Till Moses led them in Exodus
Is that right? Yeah.
to freedom, and conquered all of the tribes in the surrounding area.
Allegedly.
I believe it definitely happened. And
I think they probably were a fairly warlike band at that time. Yeah.
Well, Raiders of the Lost Ark is based on the ark that they carried before them, and apparently if you carry the ark before you assured a victory. You never lose a battle.
Yeah.
So that was kind of referred to in the film.
That's supposed to be in Ethiopia, yeah? No.
Is it really?
It's still there in a church in
There's that church.
Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
I think I've heard that. Yeah.
I've learned something there.
Right.
That's
The Ark of
interesting.
the Covenant, yeah.
The Nazis were after that, weren't they?
Oh, so not
They
just
believed in the power.
not just in the movies, and it happened in real life, did it?
They were after it, weren't they?
They were seeking it.
Germans, yeah.
The same with the Holy Grail. I mean, that
Well,
was
these things hold a powerful fascination over certain groups of people, don't they?
that's true.
Especially if you're seeking some sort of justification for your
Yeah,
actions.
yeah.
You'll want
So
to
it gives them kind of moral and military justification. That's
they think it gives them legitimacy.
a specific advantage as well.
Possibly.
Any last words to say on that then? Sort of the historical precedent set by Hitler, taking the relics, the Ark and Judaism in general.
They were plunderers, weren't they? The Nazis, plundered all the paintings and gold and everything,
They did.
Yeah.
And didn't they have their own mythology based on Thule or something like that? Like it was based on the Aryan super race and inspired by Nietzscheism and sort of
Yes, they did.
a mishmash of philosophies, didn't they?
I think it wasn't very consistent.
That's how they justified their racism, basically, and sort of
This-
racist ideology.
That and the need for more living space for
Yes, Lebensraum. Lebensraum.
Freeborn Germans. Yes.
Yeah,
Or people who they could be classified
Yeah.
as Germans.
yeah. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, the philosophy wasn't very coherent and consistent.
At the expense of the Jews and the Slavs, unfortunately.
Some Jews and Slavs could be reclassified as Germans.
That's interesting.
It did happen.
Right. Is this what you've sort of discovered from your own historical
Yeah,
research?
from my reading, I mean,
Right.
generally speaking, no, but some people with Jewish heritage were sufficiently useful to be classified as German.
Well, wasn't Hitler's like when Hitler started out and he was like getting the photographs taken? There was a Jewish guy, was he called Kubizev or something like that, who was influencing him. He was like a sort of stage magician,
Can I remember?
and he was kind of influencing his style for gestures and things like that when he was up on stage. So
Possibly, I couldn't comment.
I think it was Kubizev. Have you never heard of this guy?
Probably have,
Yeah.
but right now I can't. Right now,
I think it sounds like Kubizev, but it's not that. But he basically got murdered by the Nazis in '33, not long after Hitler took power, which was an interesting coincidence.
Well, of course, these things become problematic, don't they?
Yeah. Well, he apparently they owed him a lot of money as well. The sort of SS, generals.
Yeah.
So they were like literally killing two birds with one stone.
Well, these things do become problematical.
Yeah. And that's how the Nazis generally deal with problems. They're a little bit sort of, shall we say, brutal about it.
Fairly abrupt, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's definite.
Killing someone is pretty definite,
Yes. They don't tend to get better than being killed.
unfortunately. And I think I shall leave it on that note for now. I think we've had quite an interesting vagabond discussion there, and I'll let our viewers, watch it and decide for themselves if they like it or not. And I shall say farewell for now to everyone. Thank you very much for watching.